You've felt it, haven't you? That subtle, almost imperceptible distance between you and, well, everyone else. It's not loneliness, not exactly. It's more like you're watching a movie that everyone else is acting in. You see the scripts, you notice the cues, the hurried glances, the unspoken rules, the relentless pursuit of things that seem to hold little real weight. Most people are moving at a frantic pace, chasing an invisible finish line, but you're often standing still, observing the intricate dance of human behavior unfolding before you, processing it, understanding it on a level few others seem to touch. Here's the thing nobody talks about. This isn't just a personality quirk. This is a fundamental difference in how your brain engages with reality. And what you're about to understand today completely changes how you see your own quiet power and the world's relentless noise. Now, before you leap to conclusions, let me be explicitly clear. This doesn't mean you're strange. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. On the contrary, it means you possess a unique, neurologically distinct way of experiencing the world, a depth that many mistakenly pathologize or attempt to fix. Society, in its broad strokes, tends to champion the extroverted, the overtly ambitious, the constantly on individual. It subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, suggests that if you're not constantly engaging, performing, or achieving in the most visible ways, you're somehow falling behind. But this is where it gets interesting, because the truth is, there are real, measurable differences in psychological and neurological functioning that dictate how each of us navigates the world. These aren't flaws. They are simply different operating systems, each with its own strengths and sensitivities. Let's dive into a foundational concept: differential susceptibility. Imagine a field of plants. Some are robust, thriving in almost any condition. Others, however, are exquisitely sensitive to their environment. They wilt under harsh conditions but absolutely flourish in nurturing ones. Human beings are much the same. Some of us possess a higher degree of what researchers call sensory processing sensitivity. This isn't about being weak. It's about processing information more deeply, noticing subtleties others filter out. Think about walking into a crowded room. Most people might register the general hubbub, but people like you might simultaneously process the flickering fluorescent light, the faint hum of the air conditioning, the subtle shift in a person's posture, the underlying tension in a conversation across the room. Your brain isn't just receiving input. It's digesting it, elaborating on it, creating richer, more complex internal representations of reality. Studies, like those pioneered by Dr. Elaine Aron, have explored this trait extensively, showing distinct brain activity patterns in individuals with higher sensitivity, particularly in areas related to attention, empathy, and memory. This isn't a choice. It's an intrinsic part of your neurological makeup. And if you're someone who often feels this depth, who craves explanations that go beyond the surface, then you're exactly where you're meant to be. We explore these unseen currents of human nature every week, connecting the dots between your inner experience and the latest understandings of the mind. This deep processing isn't just about sensory input. It impacts your entire reward system. Here's the hidden neurological mechanism at play. For many, the dopamine system is heavily wired to external validation, the quick hit of a social media like, the praise from a boss, the thrill of a new purchase. But for you, the dopamine hits might be subtler, tied less to the superficial and more to the profound. Your brain might find its reward in the aha moment of understanding, in the quiet contemplation of a complex idea, in the intricate patterns of nature, or in the genuine connection with a single soul. This sounds contradictory, but your brain might be actively rewarding you for not chasing what everyone else is, creating a deeply ingrained pattern that's harder to unlearn than you think. Your neural pathways are literally reinforcing the habit of observation, of introspection, of seeking internal resonance over external noise. This creates a powerful feedback loop, making that quiet depth not just a preference, but a fundamental part of your identity and your brain's operational default. It's a profound shift in perspective to realize that your brain isn't broken for not wanting what everyone else wants. It's simply wired for a different kind of satisfaction. Now let's sketch out two distinct psychological profiles that operate in the world, often side by side, yet with profoundly different internal landscapes. On one side, you have the architect of action, the individual whose primary mode of engagement is through doing, through external impact, through measurable outcomes. Their energy is directed outwards, building, achieving, constantly shaping the environment. Their reward comes from tangible progress, from the visible mark they leave. Then you have the cartographer of consciousness, the individual whose primary engagement is internal, through understanding, through mapping the nuances of experience, through the intricate construction of meaning. Their energy is directed inwards, observing, integrating, constantly shaping their internal world. Their reward comes from insight, from clarity, from the profound sense of connection through understanding. Both profiles make perfect sense, and both are essential for a functioning society. But I'm willing to bet you've spent a significant part of your life in the shoes of the latter, feeling the weight and the wonder of being a cartographer in a world often run by architects. This difference extends dramatically to how empathy is experienced and expressed. For many, empathy is a social tool, a way to navigate interactions, to build alliances, to fulfill societal expectations. It's often engaged consciously, selectively. But for people like you, empathy can be a constant, sometimes overwhelming sensory input. You don't just understand what others are feeling, you often feel it yourself, deeply and viscerally. This makes navigating social situations incredibly complex, as you're not just processing information, you're also managing a constant influx of emotional data. This capacity for deep empathy is a double-edged sword. It allows for profound connection, but it also means you might naturally withdraw to protect yourself from emotional overload. This affects your sense of identity and self-esteem. When the world rewards superficial engagement, your deep capacity for empathy might go unnoticed or even be perceived as a weakness. But hear this, your capacity for depth isn't a burden. It's a unique lens through which the world reveals its true colors. Your ability to feel deeply is not a flaw to be corrected, but a powerful asset that allows you to connect with the authentic core of human experience, bypassing the superficial masks others wear. Where do these profound differences come from? Often, their origins are invisible, rooted in experiences from our past that shaped our psychological defenses and our very way of perceiving. It's not necessarily about grand trauma, but often about subtle experiences of rejection, of being misunderstood, of feeling othered, when your internal world didn't align with external expectations. Perhaps you learned early on that your deep observations were not valued, or that your intense emotional responses were overwhelming to others. This can lead to a heightened sense of awareness, a kind of hypervigilance not born of fear, but of a deep desire to understand, to anticipate, to navigate a world that often felt slightly out of sync with your internal rhythm. Your brain didn't choose this path to make you less than. It chose it to make you more aware, more attuned, more capable of sensing the nuances others miss. It was an adaptation, a brilliant strategy for survival and understanding in an environment that didn't always cater to your unique wiring. These experiences didn't break you. They forged a particular kind of strength, a resilience born from internal self-reliance. Consider how meaning is constructed. Most people find significance in external achievements, climbing the corporate ladder, accumulating wealth, raising a family, leaving a tangible legacy. Their life is often a narrative of accumulation and outward impact. They are the protagonists in a story largely defined by external events. But for people like you, meaning is often found in the narrative itself, in understanding the why, in the subtle shifts of consciousness, in the creation of an internal world richer and more complex than any external display. You find meaning in the intricate tapestry of thought, in the profound questions, in the quiet observation of life's unfolding drama. You are not just a participant. You are often the primary observer, the interpreter, the one who extracts profound wisdom from the mundane. Neither path is superior. They are simply different ways of engaging with the ultimate human quest for purpose. One is about building a story externally, the other is about actively constructing and understanding the story internally. This internal focus also profoundly impacts your experience of flow, that state of complete immersion and timelessness that psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi so eloquently described. For many, flow is found in high action, externally demanding activities, competitive sports, high-pressure creative work, bustling social engagements. They lose themselves in the external challenge. But for you, flow often isn't about losing yourself in action, but about finding yourself in deep, focused presence within your own mental landscape. It's found in the quiet contemplation of a book, in the intricate problem-solving of a complex idea, in the detailed observation of a natural scene, in the creation of an internal world through writing or art. You enter flow when your mind is fully engaged, not necessarily when your body is. Your presence isn't measured by your external activity, but by the depth of your internal absorption. You're more likely to be truly present when you're fully within your own axis, rather than constantly reacting to the external world. So let me reiterate, you are not broken. You are not missing out on anything fundamentally crucial by not chasing every external stimulus, by not fitting neatly into society's prepackaged molds of success and happiness. Your depth, your introspection, your capacity for profound observation, these are not weaknesses. They are silent, powerful advantages. In a world increasingly saturated with noise and superficiality, your ability to go deep, to see the unseen, to process the unspoken, is a rare and invaluable gift. Your quiet doesn't signify emptiness. It signifies a reservoir of rich, intricate thought. You possess an inner compass that points not to external validation, but to internal resonance. This isn't a flaw, it's your unique superpower. The world needs its doers, but it desperately needs its observers, for they are the silent architects of understanding. If these insights resonate, if you feel seen and understood in these explorations of the human condition, consider joining our community where we peel back these layers together. This understanding, then, isn't just about labels or definitions. It's about liberation. It's about shedding the misconception that your quiet strength is a deficit, that your careful observation is a delay, or that your internal world is less valid than the external clamor. It's about recognizing that your observant nature is a profound advantage, a sophisticated filtering system designed for depth over speed, for insight over superficial engagement. You are not meant to blend in, but to illuminate. Your role is to offer perspective, to find patterns, to articulate the unspoken truths that others, in their hurried pace, simply overlook. Embrace this unique operating system. Honor its sensitivities, for they are the gateways to depths others cannot perceive. Trust your internal compass, for it guides you not to the path of least resistance, but to the path of most meaning. Your journey is not one of external conquest, but of internal mastery, a mastery that quietly, powerfully, reshapes the world simply by understanding it more fully. This is your power, not to be hidden, but to be wielded with the quiet confidence of someone who truly sees. No longer must you apologize for the pause before you speak, or the need for solitude after a bustling day. These are not signs of weakness, but deliberate acts of calibration, allowing your intricate system to process, integrate, and synthesize. When you step back, you are not retreating. You are gaining perspective, seeing the entire landscape that others are too busy traversing to truly comprehend. This perspective is a gift, a form of intellectual and emotional intelligence that allows you to offer not just solutions, but wisdom. Your quiet power, once perhaps seen as a vulnerability, becomes your most potent instrument. It allows you to discern true signal from overwhelming noise, to connect with authenticity, and to influence with a depth that superficial engagement can never achieve. You become the steady anchor in turbulent waters, the insightful guide in uncharted territory. Recognize that your value isn't in conforming to a template, but in standing firmly in your own unique, deeply resonant truth. This self-acceptance is the ultimate act of rebellion against a world that often demands less of you than you are capable of giving, simply because it doesn't understand the way you give. Embrace it, live it, and let the quiet strength of your insight illuminate the path for yourself and for others. For too long, you might have felt like a chameleon, constantly adjusting your hues to blend into environments that drained your vibrancy. But now, imagine operating from a place where your natural colors shine, where your inherent depth isn't just tolerated but celebrated, where your quiet presence commands a different kind of authority, one born not of volume but of profound understanding. This isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more fully, more authentically yourself. It's about stepping into the role of the silent leader, the thoughtful innovator, the empathetic bridge builder, whose contributions are foundational, even if they aren't always the loudest. The world doesn't need more echoes. It needs more original voices that speak from a place of deep, internal wisdom. And that precisely is what you are uniquely positioned to offer. Your integrity isn't found in performance but in presence. This is your true power. This realization shifts your entire approach to engagement. You no longer feel compelled to participate in every fleeting conversation or to offer instant opinions. Instead, you become a curator of your energy, choosing where and when to invest your profound attention. This isn't disinterest, it's discernment. You learn to trust that your carefully considered contributions, when they do emerge, carry a weight and insight that quick, reactive responses often lack. Your influence isn't about leading from the front, but about providing the foundational understanding, the nuanced framework upon which more effective actions can be built. You become the quiet force that elevates discussions, not by dominating them, but by deepening them. And in this process of deep engagement, you cultivate an authentic resonance that draws others in, not necessarily the loudest or most superficial, but those who also seek depth, truth, and genuine connection. Your mere presence can create a space for reflection, a haven from the relentless pace of modern life. People may not always articulate why they feel more grounded or understood in your presence, but they sense the unwavering integrity, the thoughtful consideration, the non-judgmental acceptance that emanates from your core. You are a mirror reflecting back the authentic self, inviting others to shed their own masks and engage on a more meaningful level. So stand tall in your unique wiring. Recognize that your greatest contribution may not be in the visible spectacle, but in the invisible architecture of insight and empathy you provide. You are not just a participant in the world. You are a vital interpreter, a keeper of meaning, a quiet catalyst for profound change. Your strength lies in your ability to be deeply and authentically within yourself, and in doing so, you offer a much-needed anchor to a world often adrift in superficiality. This is your legacy, to be the unwavering beacon of internal truth.